Infirmary Media.
Hey dudes and dudettes, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Be Kind and Rewind podcast, a podcast chock full of topics about the 80s, 90s, and more with retro celebrity interviews and fact-filled movie commentaries. I'm your host, Carlos.
What up? I'm Dylan.
And this episode, we're here to rock and roll all night and party every day as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Kiss movie Detroit Rock City that was released this week back in 1999 with a fact-filled movie commentary along with many Kiss facts and some Twitter shout-outs. So it is crazy to think that this week, 1999, this movie was at, I think I do remember seeing it in theaters. Did you see it in theaters or was this a rental for you?
I can't remember if I saw it in theaters, but definitely a rental. But yeah, like we were talking about earlier, it's been a long year since I've seen this movie, so it's going to be nice to watch it again. And randomly too, yesterday I happened to be home and I watched The Price is Right right before I ran out and did some errands and stuff, and Kiss was on The Price is Right.
The entire band?
The entire band.
They were participating, or they up there with Drew Carey?
They were doing some kind of rock and roll week for Price is Right, and Kiss was there because one of the prizes people could win was like they would get to go. I think it was like to Memphis or something on the private jet with Kiss during their this tour they're getting ready to go on. And I think it's like the end of the world tour or something like that because they're retiring after this tour. So
yeah,
it was
that's
like
what they say.
Yeah, it was a big prize, and the dude ended up winning it too. So it's pretty cool.
I'm not surprised that Kiss would be on The Prices. I think like the only metal band you would find that on quote unquote on The Price is Right. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I saw this movie. I think it definitely in theaters because I remember I was a fan because I knew Edward Furlong from Terminator, and then Sam Huntington, who was in Jungle to Juggle with Tim Allen like a year before. I was like, oh yeah, he's in this rock movie. Cool, let's check it out. So I just remember that, and then of course it was one of the first movies to come out on DVD. So I remember when I got my DVD player for Christmas. That was one of the first ones that I bought, and it was on heavy rotation. But yeah, with Kiss, like I think this was like just a couple years after the Kiss resurgence, so it was kind of good timing. But I was a good mixture because it was a nice coming of age teenage movie, but also had the the Kiss influence going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've never been the biggest Kiss fan, but I do like some of their stuff.
Yeah, the more radio hits, we're all used to like the Rock and Roll All Night, Detroit Rock City itself. So their B-sides, they have a couple good ones, but I'm the same way. I've been more a fan of like the mystique, the whole aura of Kiss, not maybe like their music themselves, like all the merchandise we'll talk about, and the history that I guess a little bit of history about how they got together. That type of thing. So, what we'll do is we'll start the movie here, and we have some awesome facts about Kiss. We got some Twitter facts. We got some Twitter shout outs. And also we have some concert stories that we are going to get into during this movie. So it has actually been a while since I've seen this all the way through. So, we'll see how many jokes again, if they pop up better than it did last time.
Right.
All right. So if you are ready.
Ready.
I'm ready here. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. And the old classic New Line Cinema intro. This intro and from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze was of course Lord of the Rings. New Line Cinema had some pretty solid movies back in the day.
I know,
but I liked how they changed up their intro with the rock, the metal solo. But So for Kiss, for those who aren't, familiar, which will be kind of hard because Kiss has been around forever and global.
Yeah, I think you've at least like seen the four of them with their face paint on and stuff, and you're aware of them.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the music, you've at least seen them. So they started back in New York City. It was in 1973. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, Ace Frehley, the original band members. They're all influenced by Alice Cooper. I guess they, also ripped off a lot of riffs from, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, and guitarists like that. But
yep.
It was like the mid to late 70s when they kind of really were like in their heyday. Like that was like their music heyday, and then more of like their branding was like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, because that was kind of them just living off the wave, the big wave that they got in the late 70s. But of course, like we talked about, they had the makeup. That was like their big draw. The music was okay, but it was the makeup that was draw.
Oh yeah,
and like
it was definitely more of an act.
Oh yeah, and their concerts too.
They had like fire breathing and blood spitting and smoking guitars.
Well, they like I said, trying to mimic Alice Cooper's stage show, which he was like, one of the first ones to do more like shock rock, I guess is what they wanted to call it back in the day. So they took on the personas of with comic book personas, like Star Child was Stanley, Gene Simmons was the Demon, and the Spaceman was the Ace Frehley, and the Catman is Peter Criss. Just like with any band, they go through a few rotations of players. I guess look like Paul Stanley and Simmons are the only remaining members, but Peter Criss and Ace Frehley left in the early 80s. So, and if you have makeup on, you really can't tell sometimes.
You really can't tell, exactly.
But Kiss is one of the best-selling bands of all time. The 24 albums. That's crazy. When I was looking at their discography, I thought it was going to be like 10, 12. No, 24 albums since 1974. Yeah. That's crazy.
And 100 million records, over 100 million records sold. There's not many bands or artists that have done that.
No, and that's kind of proves the longevity. Like, we talked about the music is okay. I mean, it not as great as others, but it's the branding, the mystique around them that they created, and it's worked because they sold over 100 million albums. But you talked about earlier, they did announce earlier last year that they're doing after 45 years of recording and performing, they're doing the final tour, the End of the Road tour, which actually they're going to be in Denver in I think next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, snap! Missed out.
So
on
we
that.
may have to we may see if there's some affordable tickets. We'll see.
Yeah, not like Metallica's $600.
Oh man, that was rough. That was a rough reality to deal with.
Yeah, that hurt.
So we got the cover band Mystery. Edward Furlong here, like we talked about. I basically all I know him is from Terminator 2 as John Connor.
Well, in American History X.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Came out this same year, so I'm actually not sure. I'm pretty sure it came out in '99, so I'm not sure which one came out first. But incredible movie.
Him and Edward Norton, man, curb stomp. I don't even want to think about it. The hottest band in the world. That tight shirt that Lex is wearing is some fan donated it, and it was like when he was 12 years old he wore that shirt. So this goes to show those skinny punk kids, they can rock those tiny ass shirts. But a lot of the merchandise here is Gene Simmons' personal merchandise that he took out of his collection for the prop department. Here we got the actress Lynn Shay. You remember her from There's Something About Mary? Magda.
Oh yeah, it's classic.
I think she looks better with a tan.
Oh, she just tosses kids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised she didn't like snap it in half, which I'll commend her for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, we remember her from There's Something About Mary. You know, she's the very religious, overprotective mother. But in her first role, she was actually in her very first role back in what was it, 1975? She played a whore.
She played a whore, huh? Who knew?
A whore. Okay, so this is one of the cooler intros for sure. I like this is, you know, one of my not intros to Kiss, but I didn't listen to Love Gun at this point in time, so this is like my intro to Love Gun.
Love Gun's probably one of my favorite songs by them.
And then made more famous. Yeah, made more famous by role models because he's talking about his dick.
You see, Ronnie, the gun, it's his dick.
Which is actually a pretty easy song to play on guitar. Yeah, most Kiss songs, as you would imagine, are power chords.
Yeah, power chords. Yeah, so the movie, it came out in 1999. It was directed by Adam Rifkin, and he had just done The Chase with Charlie Sheen.
Which is a great goddamn movie.
It's a random movie, and that chick that is in it is so hot.
Oh, she's smoking. Yeah, and they drive in that tiny little red car.
Yeah,
with Flea and Anthony Kiedis.
And then they end up hanging at the end of it. Like, yeah, he's been pulling tail for a while.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a pretty solid movie, The Chase.
Yeah, this movie is primarily just 4 teenage boys in a Kiss tribute band who try to see their idols in concert in Detroit in 1978. So, pretty basic premise.
I mean, it's like we see, it's like Dazed and Confused and Stoned Age and I Want to Hold Your Hand. Just the 90s version of it, which, 1999, we were seeing like She's All That. What were the other teen movies that came? Not Another Teen Movie was a good one.
Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Can't Hardly Wait. There we go. They're starting to come. Yeah. See, this is the peak, the crest. But the movie, didn't do so hot at the box office. Though, it got like, I think what was the budget, $17 million, and it only grossed like $5.5 million, barely $6 million.
Yeah, that is no good. Comes to the box office.
But it became a cult favorite.
Yeah, that's
a cult classic.
A lot of cult classics are like that. They don't take too kind at the box office, and reviews are usually very mixed, just like this one. It's got a 48 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah.
Well, lucky for this one, I mean, like we talked about, it was one of the first DVDs, and this is still in the heyday of DVD sales and DVD rentals. So I've rented it a lot, and I'm sure becoming a cult classic. That's, of course, it grew through there too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there was that transition right there. I remember, because 2000, 2001, like hardly no one had a DVD player.
No, when I got mine, it was like, I felt it was state of the art. I had like 12 cords to make sure it hooked up correctly to my big box TV and stuff like that. It was fancy to have yourself a DVD player, and it was this movie and Ocean's 11, I think, were one of the first 2 DVDs I owned.
Man,
shrooms. So some of the actors, we'll introduce some of these guys real quick. So we talked about Edward Furlong. James DeBello plays Trip. He's been in a lot of like bit acting type roles. Not really like a full-fledged roles, but like Cabin Fever, American Pie. Same with Giuseppe Andrews. I guess he more or less directs independent movies now, but he was also in Cabin Fever. So we had a Detroit Rock City reunion in Cabin Fever.
That's
and then
true.
Here we got Sam Huntington right here. Like we talked about earlier, he was in Jungle to Jungle, the native son of Tim Allen. And then he's in some other shows that went on for a decent amount, but I never watched. Did you ever watch the show Being Human?
No, I don't think I did.
It was, I'm not sure if it was like a CW show or something like that. He was like a werewolf, I think, or something like that, or turned into some animal. But it was on for like 4 or 5 seasons, so it did well. Rosewood, he's currently on The Good Girls, which is on ABC or CBS, one of those network shows. I'm sure like as a boyfriend or husband or something maybe.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But doing pretty well for himself, but Edward Furlong, going back to him, he's actually coming back. Did you see he's coming back to the new not Star Wars, Terminator movie?
That's awesome. I do like that because, the last couple Terminator movies they did were they're not that good.
No,
they should bring back
ever
Arnold
since T2,
and Edward Furlong. Yeah.
Well, they're bringing back Arnold. They got Sarah Connor. Now they got John Connor. I think who they missing? They seem to bring back what's his name for as the T-1000 or T-2000.
Oh yeah, psycho looking dude.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Just don't cast anybody else. I'm tired of seeing them try to cast everybody who look like the characters or renditions of them. Just cast the old people. I'm fine with that. So back to the movie here. Like we talked about, a lot of the memorabilia was Gene Simmons's. Not the clothes. The clothes they actually had to go find this stuff from vintage stores around the area, and that took them a lot longer than they expected, according to the director. One little note that they actually had to almost buy up a whole store just to find the wardrobe they needed for the movie. Which,
dude, I could see that.
Yeah. They also, this school they used, the lockers and hallways like blue and gray, updated type colors, but they wanted to make it more of a 70s vibe. So they're like they painted that little yellow sunshine earthy tones, what they go with.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So to get prepared for this, I did nerd out and I watched the commentary with the cast and crew. And so the guys who were all the actors were talking, and I guess for this scene, they had tickets to go see Marilyn Manson that night, and so they wanted to rush through the scene, get it done, so they could get off to go see Marilyn Manson, but took way longer than normal. They kept messing everything up. They kept having to redo stuff, so they ended up leaving way later than expected. Only got to see like half the show, but I guess I got to go hang out in the back. Oh, got to go see half the show and go hang out in the back with Marilyn Manson and watch him eat fried chicken.
Dude, that's not a bad deal.
Which is an experience in itself.
That's hilarious. So they were going to see Manson. Manson was huge back in the 90s.
Oh man, yes. Was this like Dope Show era?
Oh, that's Rose from 2.5 Men.
Yep. This girl never ages. I swear to God, she looks the same now that she does.
Yep.
Because I know I've seen her on a few other things. I never watched that show, but I've seen her on so many other shows and movies.
2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen. The one with Ashton Kutcher is terrible, but with Charlie Sheen, it's good. It's fucking classic.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
I never gave it a shot, and I guess I had prejudged it.
No, it's got some great humor.
It looked too sitcom-y, but if it's got good humor, I guess
it does. Yeah. What's wild about this movie is the KISS members were actually supposed to have cameos as a parent, priest, a mechanic, and a gangster, but the timing did not work out.
Well, at least they get the cameo at the end, but it'd be cool to see them like out of their makeup. And
that'd have been great.
Yeah, just kind of seeing what their acting chops are all about. And so KISS, we heard the mom say earlier, the acronym that a lot of moms or parents used among the claims that there were, devil worshippers, this knights in Satan's service, the Kinder S, or Kinder S, and then the kids in Satan's service. But Gene Simmons denies all these claims. That's what the band was all about.
Yep.
Which is just like Alice Cooper went through it. KISS went through it. Marilyn Manson went through it. Like the same cycle of parents not enjoying that music, thinking it's a bad influence.
It's the devil's music.
That devil. She's relentless, man.
She is. Oh,
so
man.
Guess who they originally wanted to play Hawk? Edward Furlong. They wanted JTT to play
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was actually interested. But he ended up wanting to go to college. Yeah, he ended up wanting to go to college. So
isn't that why he left Home Improvement too?
Yeah, so it would have been weird if he was like, guys, I'm just gonna take off from Home Improvement to go to school, and then he does his movie instead. Which would have been weird because if he would have been in this movie with this actor, with Sam Huntington, they both would have worked with Tim Allen within the same year.
That is,
which would have been a 1 degree of Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, yep. Oh man, oh.
It's the 70s when you're smoking in the school.
That's a bad bitch.
Yeah, lighting the tickets on fire
with
if anything, light your the one ticket that your son has so that he can't go. But to light all the tickets,
yeah, that's pretty messed up, Mom.
$5.50 for tickets to go see Kiss in Cobo Hall in 1970. What was it, 1978?
Shut up. The wood panel station wagon. Yeah, I think that might be a little overkill just for your son having some concert tickets.
Just a little bit.
And if they knew his mom was like that, why didn't any of these guys hold on to him?
That was the thing. They're all shitting their pants because they couldn't find the tickets, but they ended up being in his coat pocket. I still would be shitting my pants equally had I knowing that they're at his house still.
Yep.
We got the hallway monitor here. Who was the one that we had in high school? I keep always trying to reference her name. Was it Miss Dorsey? Yes.
Oh yeah, I used to fuck her all the time.
Yeah, she was quite the character. I think she was missing a few teeth. She had the huge scrunchie.
Yep.
I couldn't remember. Did she have a gun, or did she just have a baton?
She had the baton and a whistle. top flight motherfucking security.
Top flight of the world, Craig. Yeah, I don't think she was chasing too many people down.
Negatory. Oh, that bathroom is hideous.
I mean, it's the girls' bathroom. Where's the couch? Where's the flat screen TV? Where's all those amenities? All right, here we go. This is where boys become men. First time you hear a girl blow ass.
Oh, they're watching. That's not cool. You'll be able to hear it.
So they pretty much came up with this scene on set after a few stories. People, coming up with ways to shenanigans, I guess, that happened in high school. People on set, and this was one of them. Sneaking into the girl's bathroom, and then a girl accidentally coming in and just dropping a load right next to him.
And she can't hear them.
Yeah, you better get going.
Oh man.
So I guess in real life,
that is just great. That ashtray up there.
Oh, just jam-packed of butts.
Jam-packed.
The actor Sam Huntington, his mom in real life, I guess, is very similar to his mom in the movie. More, kind of a stage mom. From listening to the commentary, he wasn't there. They called him in, so he was at a restaurant or something while everybody was in the studio. And before they called him, there was a lot of talk, yeah, Sam's mom, she was, we could have done this, but she was really insistent. Or the kids were like, well, we're gonna go do this, but Sam's mom was, telling everybody not to do it. So I guess she was kind of the stickler. more of the stage mom. So I guess life imitated art when it came to that. Mass suicide. What was it? The Jonestown suicide he was reading about?
Yeah. That's a crazy. I don't think I saw that. I saw that before. Yeah, I watched a documentary on that. Those people are insane.
I mean, the crazy is like when they have that helicopter view. You know, they pan over the top, and you see all those bodies.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. And that's where we got the don't drink the Kool-Aid.
That's exactly right. All right, here we go.
Now they get their second chance.
They get the chance.
Tickets. Have you ever won anything through radio contests?
I have not. Nope.
I've won one time. This was, I think, right before I did my radio internship back in Johnson County. I was working up there in KC, and I think it was for like some like Disturbed or some tickets like that. They were just doing ninth caller, and I was in my car. I took my break, and I was in my car just like doing the, you know how you do the repeat call back and forth. And I got through, and it was awesome. I think I got the tickets. I got like a CD, a DVD, like a little care package. Like, yeah, it was awesome. So, it was one, I think literally the only time I can recall.
I used to try to call in the morning whenever it was like 9th, 10th caller. Never. It was always busy.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it, but I remember being super pumped because I was like, oh, dude, that would be nice if I won tickets to this. And you just kind of, that one instant thought in your head, and then it actually happened.
Oh, snap. All right. They got.
Yeah, this would be a pretty awesome feeling running through school. Got front row tickets to Kiss, Detroit. We're going to Detroit.
What happened is the radio DJ asked someone to name the real names of the Kiss band members, but Gene Simmons' real name is Cham Witz.
Yeah, so, he's got that Jewish background that he not trying to hide, but he has a stage name.
Gene Simmons is much cooler.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so technically he didn't get it right. So just a couple years in this timeline, 1983, Kiss began to perform without makeup and costumes, thinking it was a time. They thought, it's a good time to leave it all behind. But according to this time, they experienced a commercial resurgence with the Lick It Up album they had just put out. So a new generation of fans was starting to tune in, especially with MTV. 84 was MTV, I think, officially started. So yeah. It marked the era of the unmasked era for Kiss, which they would do for the next 10 years until we talked about that reunion tour where they put the makeup back on in the mid-90s.
And they
have
to do that. That's their look, man.
Yeah, because like Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, those guys look, they look all right without their makeup. Gene Simmons, I think he needs the makeup. He once he shed that, I think everyone's like, ooh, maybe you should put the makeup back on. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's unnecessary.
I mean, yeah, it's unnecessary.
That guy takes his job way too seriously.
I love those sideburns, man. I'm jealous.
There are some chops. That he does.
So now we get the priest played by Joe Flaherty. We know him from SCTV, Freaks and Geeks, and the Jackass guy from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, classic role.
Jackass!
Hey, Shooter, want to go to Sizzler?
Shooter, come on.
Thought we were gonna be friends, Shooter.
Yeah, so he's a pretty common character actor, Canadian SCTV type actor, probably with John Candy and Rick Moranis and those guys, come from the same class of people. But yeah, he was, Happy Gilmore, he was the dad from Freaks and Geeks. Yep. And I do remember loving him in that show because he just always took everything to the extreme. You know what happened to so-and-so when they did that? They died. That's what happened. Died.
Yeah, he played a good dad.
Oh, yeah, he's a good over-the-top dad. And this is a pretty solid plan, even though the convenience of the pizza does play in. I don't know if I would waste too many shrooms on something like this. You want to throw like a little bit, a couple caps to get a little body giggle going.
Dude, 10 even for a pizza delivered? That's solid. I guess this is 78.
Oh yeah, we gotta remember that. Oh, right out of the donations, what a baller.
Donate your tip to the church.
The Lord thanks ya. So the KISS logo, pretty famous logo, looks pretty standard. Paul Stanley had designed it with a Sharpie. He accidentally drew the S's non-parallel because he did it by eye. But the art department asked him, when they redid it, for officially, to be redrafted to be perfect. He said, no, it got us this far. Let's just leave it, as it is. But the letters also happen to look like the insignia of the Nazi SS. Pretty, not so popular in Germany. And so it's banned. Their logo was banned in Germany for a while. But Gene Simmons, of course, we talked about, had that Jewish background. Had to basically say there's no Nazi symbolism that they're trying to put into their logo. It's just coincidence or people just reaching for something at that point.
Yeah. There's people that always reach in with things they don't understand, just like having KISS stand for certain things that have Satan in it, and like, no, man, we just wanted to rock.
just felt like rolling, man. They need to start dosing more priests to see if they get more revelations like this.
Padre.
So back in 2013, KISS was announced as a nominee for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then was announced as an inductee that December. So, they were around at that point for over 30 years. It takes that long, I guess, sometimes to be inducted.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. It did take that long.
Santa?
Same freaking guy.
They're the same person.
All right, they busted him out. Everything's working out.
So this is like one of 3 songs of KISS. Like on the soundtrack, we'll talk about the soundtrack here. It's got a pretty solid one. It's up there with the likes of Joe Dirt, some Forrest Gump. Nobody talks about this. We got The Boys Are Back in Town. This one's actually by Everclear. This Shout Out Loud here by KISS. Running with the Devil, Cash Crash Fever, Iron Man, Highway to Hell, Detroit Rock City, Jailbreak, Surrender, Rebel Rebel, Strutter, School Days. These are pretty solid tunes that I followed the Spotify playlist just because I forgot how good this was. So we'll what would you say? Where would this rank with, like, we've talked about like Joe Dirt and Forrest Gump, these other type of soundtracks that have this a huge lineup of classic rock.
Oh, it is probably at least top 10 if you got to like pick movies. Of course, I think Forrest Gump and Dazed and Confused are probably the best.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused and Forrest Gump, they're up there. This one, granted, they're all like a similar era and songs, but they go well with the soundtrack. The timing that they're used to. We got the Guidos.
Oh yeah,
Guidos and Stellas. It took me forever to realize that's Sloane from Entourage in the back seat.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be one of her. It's got to be one of her first roles.
Oh yeah, and Natasha Lyonne from Slums of Beverly Hills.
Yep, and American Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Gene Simmons, wanted her, like, reached out to her directly to be in the movie. Gross. All they're missing is like coke lines around their nose.
Yeah, what a dick.
And I'm breaking these chains. It's a great toss.
That's no Boyd. It is a good
hunk
one.
Of fucking cheese.
So the director wrote the Guidos vs. Stoners since there was a huge rivalry in the 70s between rock and disco. And we all know which one won out on that one.
Disco sucks. Yeah, I mean, it was just like kind of like how it is today, like, rock versus alternative or country or something like that. It's just a little rivalry. But disco really did was like, it was in and out. It was like, what, like how long you say disco lasted? Like not even 10 years?
Not even 10 years. Yep. And it was over. Man, that guy's messing up his nice fucking Firebird.
Yeah. For the Volvo? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it.
Dude, it is 4 guys versus 2 guys. Come on.
That's true. They do got the numbers.
Yeah.
But that second Guido on the back is pretty jacked. I don't know. It's hard to tell in their colorful shirts. Oh yeah, not good.
Yeah, that's
not fun.
I would not.
Their faces. Oh shit. I guess they didn't even like the actors, the Kiss actors didn't even see these guys, the Guidos, other than in their makeup. So they saw them without their makeup one time. I guess they didn't even recognize them. That's how done up these guys to make them look like the 70s was. I guess that was kind of one like thing about the movie itself. Like they did a pretty good job, mirroring what the 70s would look like. I guess more of maybe what a fantasy look at what the 70s would look like. I can't say for sure because I didn't live through the 70s, but just like with anybody who makes these type of movies, they enhance their version of the life. But I still like it. This is the only way I've seen the 70s is through movies.
These guys, man. There you go.
I mean, they should have done this a long time ago.
Should have done that before he had pizza all over his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the smoke too. Then you got Black Sabbath right here. I mean, yeah, it's just hit
Iron
after
Man. So one of the questions we asked for on Twitter, we asked what was the craziest thing you did for a concert, and one of them, the first one that I put out was back in sophomore junior year when the Chili Peppers were in KC. We got Heath to quit his job at Golden Corral so that he could go with us to the Chili Peppers concert that night. We all huddled around him while he was on the cordless phone making the phone call in. He's like, can I get off for tonight? And they're like, no, you're scheduled in like an hour. He's like, all right, well, I quit. And so
there you go.
Like, yeah.
Yep. That's not bad.
What about you? You got any anything out of the ordinary?
Anything out of the ordinary? Yeah. I mean, I guess the craziest thing happened to me at a concert or anything concert wise is I went and saw Pretty Lights in Las Vegas probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. Awesome concert. But I took acid for the first time at that concert, and I ended up walking the entire Vegas Strip after the concert because I was so jacked on acid. And
those lights were just so mesmerizing.
To see everything, transform, and it was epic. It was awesome.
That billboard, real quick, was a tiny 1-inch billboard. Tiny billboard. They used forced perspective for that.
Just, okay.
Little movie trick, but that's awesome that you got to walk the strip, just tripping balls.
Oh man, that is the best place to do it because there is nothing but lights all night long.
No, we had another guy, Joey L. Mills, says back in the 90s, HBO did a series about the terrible gang violence in Little Rock. Unbeknownst to us, a few friends and I drove there, slept in the car in a parking lot, and what was the deadliest street in the nation at the time, all to get front row seat to an Aerosmith concert.
Fuck yeah!
And I said, I think Randall Pink Floyd would have been proud.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And supposedly, this Natasha actress was handpicked by Gene Simmons to play the role Christine after her role in Slums of Beverly Hills,
which is a pretty solid movie too.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that one. I'm trying to think what else she was. 10 Things I Hate About You. Right? No.
No. The only thing she comes to mind to me is American Pie.
American Pie.
She's Vicky's friend, and she's also in Orange Is the New Black.
Yes, she's in like 2 Netflix shows now. She's doing pretty well for herself.
Yeah, she's still doing it. Donna Summer.
I really don't know where the derogatory term Stella came. Like it's the 70s disco derogatory for like a female disco fan, I guess.
Maybe.
It's like the only thing. I mean, it's obvious, but that's the only attribution I can think of. But she starts talking about Kiss making a disco song.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, Kiss did make a disco song. 1 year later.
1 year later.
Or that same year, I Was Made for Loving You, which is a pretty catchy song, actually. such a teenager thing to say, the way he said it and everything.
Oh man. There she goes. She's coming around.
They use a smoke machine inside the car to get the effect, the Cheech and Chong effect. Which the only way I've really been able to obtain that, full disclosure, hash. That's the only way. That's the only way really get that full smokiness in the car. So, all right, so they drove to Detroit, like 5 crew members and the director and the actors, and just drove around Detroit guerrilla style and just filmed everything on their own.
Nice.
No permits, no nothing. They just need to get a little montage. They need to set the stage of like they made it to Detroit. When you look at it, it almost looks like they like, because all the cars in the background are older cars. None of them are like, newer Explorers or anything. They all look like 70s Mustangs or, Oldsmobiles, stuff like that. So
yeah,
they
that's
lucked
a good
out.
point.
They lucked out in that regard, I guess. So all these extras, the way that they got them is they told them they were going to have they're going to be signing autographs. The Kiss was going to be signing autographs at the end of it.
Oh,
that was like the only way that could keep people, because I guess it was cold as shit at night and people were leaving, and that was like their way of keeping people around. Which is a pretty cool banner if you drive up to, and this is the front row or the front of the concert that has the band's, and glowing lights. It's got the band's name.
Oh man. Yep, that would be crazy.
That hair that's on Trip, it's a wig that's attached to the beanie. So there's no wig with a beanie on top. It's just, attached to it.
It's a great parking job.
Beautiful. Right on in there. I mean, actually, if you look back, they are sticking out pretty far. I always like this elevator, too. It's the record.
That is an awesome elevator. You ever been in a circle elevator?
No, never.
That's baller.
I didn't even know they existed. Only in malls.
Yep.
Thanks for those burly ass tickets, man. This guy's got a sweet do as well. Unfortunately, it's a wig too. I mean, you think they would have told him before they played it, like, yeah, you guys didn't win. Let me prove this to you and why. It's kind of a dick move to lead him on this way.
Yeah.
What kind of a moron?
That is fucked up.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, it is what it is. This scene here was supposed to be like a full dialogue, Hawk yelling at Trip, but they were in such a rush to get the shot done for the day that they said, fuck it, just choke him out.
Yeah, I mean, it gets right to the point.
Yeah.
Sin.
So that lady right there, that's I think it was Paul Stanley's wife in makeup and a wig. So if you take that off, apparently she is this gorgeous, gorgeous woman, but they uglied her up for the movie.
Gotcha.
Lex's reaction here is like a true reaction I had in high school. I'm like, yeah, man, fuck it. Whatever. Dog shit, man. Dog shit. I'm in so much trouble. Totally had that exact reaction in high school. They do throw fag around a lot in this movie. That's the one takeaway I'll give this. I'll not give, but tell this movie is they put a little too many fags, I think, in the movie.
Swedish car.
Get the cops in on this car Volvo situation. There's always that friend talking, justifying for you, making you feel better, even though it's terrible.
We're
trying to get our tickets here, man. Fuck your mom's thousands of dollar car.
Yeah, the scalper. He'll always come through.
Oh, yes. I mean, the scalpers they still are prominent, but not as big anymore. But
true.
Man, scalpers back in the day, you get anything. So in 1978, Kiss wanted to take the next steps to improve their popularity or do something different. So they took this 2-prong type of approach to doing that. So the first part was they were all going to release individual solo albums, I guess. Mainly because they want to try something new. Also to help ease the rising tensions in the band. Try to get them away from each other for a little bit. And of course, the solo albums are okay, but they were released kind of like as solo albums, but also tied into Kiss as well, and they'd all kind of tie in together. That was a weird kind of a marketing thing. The second part, though, was the band was to appear in a film, which was like a larger-than-life rock and roll superheroes they wanted to be. But once that was released, they wanted to be like a Hard Day's Night and Star Wars meet, and it was horrible. So this wasn't the first time Kiss tried their first endeavor into the movies, and then I guess the final product, it was the Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park is what it's called. Debuted 1978, and I guess the band members were pretty embarrassed about it, that they don't even want to talk about it. They just regret it even happened.
Oh, is that bad?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
You think the Star Wars holiday special is bad? This is bad.
We just had some AC/DC. Now we got some Santana.
Yeah,
this soundtrack is balling.
And like I said, they use it well. It's not kind of just thrown in to be there. It sets the mood. This scalper, this guy's. I've always liked this character. I guess he's just like he's been a bit character for a while. He came up with some of the sayings like "shake your wee wee" and things like that. His name was Richard Hilmer, and I never noticed, but they had to fill in his handlebar mustache. Like he can grow a mustache, but they use like marker and makeup to fill in the other part of it. Gene and Paul live, bro. Vestices and breastises. I mean, this guy knows how to sell a concert. I'll tell you that. Yep. Gotta get after it.
Go shake your wee wee.
Shoulda get out the pop rock star.
It's not a bad line there.
No, like you said, times. He improvised a "shake you wee wee," and that was used in like the trailers and stuff like that. And I guess just from that little improvised line, and it's actually a line that stuck with me for a long time. So this fake ID that Hawk uses, I guess is a prop guy on set, but man. It never fails to get a little laugh out of me every time we see this guy's just dumbfounded face on the fake ID. Here we go. Nice.
Yep, here we go.
So it's a male strip club, and I don't think I've ever been to. I mean, of course, I've never
Oh
been to one.
yeah,
But I don't think I've never seen one. I've never seen one. And you think this should be like a hotbed? Men should go to men's strip clubs because women are there. For that purpose.
Yeah,
not to go. Watch dudes.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I guess they used to be around. They still might be in big cities, but I don't know.
Got the old lady grabbing the booty. Oh man, she wanted it.
She did. Yeah, he's just always moving.
Yeah, I love how he's just dancing. So what we'll do now, actually, we're going to rock out our Twitter poll and the shout-outs. So we got a little time here.
Well, and that's actually Gene Simmons. I don't know if they're married or just together, but like his significant other.
Oh, Shannon Tweed. Yeah, sorry. I forgot about that. So they're not married, but...
Yeah, it's like common law marriage or something, but they're still...
Yeah, so 2 kids in 20, 30 years. I think, you can basically call it a marriage. The funny thing about her, while watching the commentary, she was happy to be in the movie, but there is this like sense that she was kind of upset that she didn't have a bigger part, or that she wasn't in more of the movie. She kind of had these back end comments. She's like, if I was in this movie more, I would have had a chance to do this, or I would like trying to be funny, but like calling them out at the same time. It was a little awkward at some point because then she go on these long rants as well. So yeah, I mean, she's a nice lady. It's just interesting as well, and sexy.
Yeah, I think that's how they met. She was some type of model.
Oh, was she like in a White Snake video, or is that somebody else I was thinking of?
That might have been Heather Locklear.
Maybe something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
video vixen of some sort, possibly. Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, let's do the Twitter poll and the shout outs here. So earlier this week, I was asking listeners which Kiss song was their favorite. And so we had the list. We had Love Gun, Rock and Roll All Night, Shout It Out Loud, Detroit Rock City. And our winner was Detroit Rock City with 35%.
Dun, dun, dun.
Rock and Roll All Night, second place, and Love Gun, third, Shout It Out Loud, fourth. I would say mine would be Love Gun.
I think I'm there too. I've always liked Love Gun. And just the meaning behind it too.
The gun is your dick. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised that Detroit Rock City got it because it's got a really good opening riff. It's gets jamming out pretty early. If you got good bass and good system with it, it really sounds great. But if you don't, it really has that old 70s vibe with like no EQ to it type of thing. This song too was a Godzilla. I think it's a song. That's another great song. Let's see here. So we had some Twitter shout outs. Some people reached out and talked about their favorite Kiss songs. So the first one was Channel Surfing Pod at Channel Surf Pod. It says, I Love It Out Loud is a great one. And they're still the best concert I've ever seen. We talked about.
Nice.
I've never seen them in concert, but may have to see what the tickets are for next week. Maybe we can get them third party without having to pay any stupid fees. Jay Sandlin says, gotta submit God of Thunder, which I had never heard of God of Thunder. Or I mean, I heard of it, but I never listened to it. So I had to give it a quick check out. It's a good song. You should check it out if you haven't listened to it.
Yeah, I think I do know what song it is, but
it's like an Alice Cooper, like demon type slow song kind of a thing. It's pretty cool. It's got a cool vibe to it. The STS cast at STS cast. Psycho Circus is also up there, and the entirety of Music from the Elder is underrated. See, I've heard of Psycho Circus because it came out around the same time this movie came out.
Yep.
But Music from the Elder, I have no idea like when that would have came out.
Samey. I'm not sure.
One of the 24 albums. Next one, Odd Dad Out. I know it's a cover, but God Gave Rock and Roll to You is a top favorite. After that, Detroit Rock City, mostly because it was the first Kiss song I learned to play all the way through when learning guitar. God Gave Rock and Roll to You. I remember that one being on the Bill and Ted Bogus Journey ending. But it was like the Argent version, I guess, the more, high tempo, because I guess there's like 3 versions of God Gave Rock and Roll to You. There's like Argent, Kiss, and somebody else, but the other 2 are real soft versions. They're not, because you've heard the one from Bill and Ted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's like a more upbeat, like metal version, but that's played by another band called Argent, but they have the Kiss vocals over the top. So it's a weird mixture. I'm still trying to get the gist of it, but that version is my favorite, and I always thought it was Kiss's, so I'll just attribute it to Kiss. God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Next one, we got Taking Whatever, Whenever, It says, I Want to Rock and Roll All Night, which is like the quintessential Kiss song.
It is, and that's the one they still probably play the most, I would say.
Oh, that's their closer every night.
Yep.
Opener or closer. That's how they're doing it. Tune Styles podcast says, I've always been a fan of Deuce and She, which is none of their, I guess, while not big as their massive hits, fantastic tunes. So I've never heard of either of those. So might have to. Yeah,
that's the thing with them having, what they have, 25 albums.
24, yeah.
24, yeah. That's a ton of songs.
It is a lot. And then last couple here, For Screen and Country, a BFI podcast at BFI Pod. Beth, Don't Care for Any Others.
Wow.
Beth was their slow song.
It's pretty slow.
But it's a pretty good one. It was the piano, whatever, opening. And it's like Beth and, I Was Made for Loving You. Like, they're 2 off the wall or off the genre type songs, or like the more popular.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just funny how it works out that way. And then we got Brody Cole at Spoonful of Brody. I Was Made for Loving You and I Stole Your Love are 2 of my favorites. And then
some other slower ones.
Yeah. And then Moxie, Your Brain on Facts, says Detroit Rock City has guitars and harmony, which always makes it.
Yeah.
And I agree. The opening intro of Detroit Rock City is just fantastic. The harmonized guitars. So yeah, that was our Twitter shout out. So thanks everybody for doing that. Let's get back to the movie here. We got Edward Furlong, basically in what most of our Saturday nights were like back in college, just spinning, trying to find a place to vomit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I vomit there? Should I vomit there? Yeah, I'm doing it.
I know, he got hammered like very, very quickly.
Well, how many drinks do you think he had at the bar there? Probably like 3 or at least 3 or 4, maybe doubles at least.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good.
And they're using the old vomiting trick. Put the hose next to the person's mouth. Vomiting trick. Which in hindsight, the effect doesn't quite play up. But to fill up a whole pitcher. Have you ever vomited enough to fill up a whole pitcher, you think?
Probably, yeah, at some point.
I think so. I was going to say, I think so. I think I have.
Yeah.
There's definitely one point where you're like, holy shit. Like, you're like, you go from being like sick to being like amazed.
Oh, yeah. But he kept that all in the pitcher.
Got great aim. You must feel great at this point now. I thought they said they had no kiss. Doubtful.
Old Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, I think I've told this story a few times. Maybe I've told you too. When I was interning at the radio station back in KC, we had the Rock Fest, and of course Ron Jeremy. They always have weird people showing up for these things, and Ron Jeremy was there. And so I was walking up the side stage to go up to watch Korn play, and I see Ron Jeremy walking up. I'm like, oh fuck yeah! And I had my Rockfest shirt and I had my pens ready, you know, for autographs because I knew I'd be backstage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Ron Jeremy, man, can I get your autograph? Love your work, even though I don't think I seen one video of his, but I just knew what he did. And he was so fucked up, he couldn't even he had no idea I was there in front of him. I was like, and he was like trying to like not fall backwards. I was like, yo, I got you. I was holding on to him, and I put the pen in his hand, and I just like scribble on my shirt. I'm like, all right, thanks, Ron. And I just walk off, and he just like stumbles down the rest of the stairs. I'm like, I guess I got Ron Jeremy's autograph. So that's my
I'd never seen any of his stuff either.
story.
And then I think I watched Boondock Saints, and he was in it. And I was watching it with someone. They're like, "Yeah, he's like the biggest porn star right now." I was like, "Him?"
I had the gerbil or something they call him, the hamster. I mean, I've seen like some videos like back in the 70s. Yeah, he was a little thinner. He looked a little more handsome, but even then, I wouldn't say he was like a bona fide like look like a porn star you would think of. But I guess he's era correct. You know, the 78. This was the time that Ron Jeremy was a huge porn star. So why not have him be a DJ at a male strip club?
Pretty much. That was a party foul.
Have you ever snuck into backstage anywhere?
You know what? No, I don't think I have. I think definitely tried back in the day, but
I mean, it's just like with the times. I think it was probably been easier back in the day, but now, like, no way.
And never like backstage, but I've definitely moved seats at concerts, like,
oh yeah,
like from the 50th row to like the 8th.
Well, that's the thing. Like, as a true concert veteran, you get there. If you have nosebleeds, you get there and you start scoping out sections that may have some empty seats that don't get filled in, and you just keep an eye on those seats. If they're not filled in by like halfway through, you're like, I'm taking those. So we like I said, we've been to a few concerts. We know what to do.
Yeah, you gotta always try to get better seats.
Any more bucket list concerts you're looking to check off?
Man, really just some of the older bands, kind of like Kiss, or like I had no idea they were coming. I'd like to see them in concert just to say it.
Yeah, I'll check it out and see.
Yeah, really just some of those older bands that aren't going to be around much longer. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Rolling Stones.
I mean, they were just in Denver last week or this week.
Yeah, that was another thing that kind of reminded me of it. I was like, damn, I wasn't on top of that. I didn't see that they were coming.
I mean, shit, they're going to be, the way the Rolling Stones are going, they're going to be touring for about another 20 years.
Until they die. Literally, I think one of them will have to die on
somebody. Do they still have all of their original members?
As far as I know, they do. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Right. Now he's about to.
All right, so we can go see Kiss for $75.
Oh, that's not bad, man.
At the Pepsi Center.
Pepsi Center, that's not bad at all.
So it's something to think about. Let me check the date. It's September 12th. So you got about a month.
That's a month out. Yeah, that's not bad.
If you want to make it work.
I gotta be down for that.
Dude, I could do some Kiss. So we might have to do that.
Yeah,
because like they said, I mean, they had a farewell tour back in like early 2000, and like with most bands, they have at least a handful of farewell tours before it's all said and done. But I think I believe them on this one.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Sirloin.
Those guys are all jacked, and there's Hawk. They should have gave it to the underdog or the guy with the assless chaps. Yeah, Shannon Tweed, she's beautiful.
She is hot.
She just apparently all her roles have just been nudity or vixen of some sort.
That's exactly what she looks like. Yeah.
Richie Rich, Fantastic Four, Kiss. I didn't realize, the comic spread that they were showing us there. Some pretty solid comics.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, I guess we haven't even talked about it. The fact that Kiss, Gene Simmons put Kiss's name on everything. You got something going on over there? Dylan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what was that?
What happened?
I don't know. Do you have did your phone ring or did mine? Oh, that was weird. It's like the government's listening on us.
They are, man. I'm sick of them.
Telling them.
Always.
Just chime in if you want to listen. Just chime in if you want to listen.
I know.
I totally forgot what I was even saying.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, no, we're talking about how Kiss, Gene Simmons was not shy about throwing their name on literally everything. So that's why they could make a shit ton of money. They were one of the first bands to start selling merchandise at the concerts, which got, started the trend of bands to start doing that, where they got a majority of their money was from the merchandise. So we had Kiss caskets, Kiss toilet paper, shit like that, which...
Oh, yeah, the Kiss condoms.
The Kiss condoms. Yeah, it all sounds ridiculous, but somebody bought them.
Yeah, he's making money.
I think there was a Kiss Air guitar strings. It was just string, an empty bag of an empty plastic bag with Kiss logo on it. I'm like, oh wow, the Kiss Army. Now it looks like a pretty solid backstage. But according to the band, it's not quite like this at all. There's no amusement park or hot tubs in the back. It's just people eating turkey, deli meats. And
they had a Ferris wheel behind every concert. That would be something else.
That would be intense. All right, guys, get the hot tub out. Paging Dr. Love. So apparently that's Gene Simmons, if anybody couldn't tell by the hair. Gene Simmons was famous for not him and Ted Nugent. Drugs weren't their thing, but the ladies were. They were addicted to the ladies.
Oh, damn.
That's a big commitment to never pull your pork again. I mean, I've promised some pretty big things in my life, but I even knew that wasn't true.
Yeah, you can't promise that.
Stretch Armstrong. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get shot in the abdomen.
Yeah.
By that shotgun, or shoot his hand off.
And why is that guy playing tug of war with him? Who cares?
Maybe he has a fondness for Stretch Armstrong. I mean, nothing better than being rewarded with a little kiss.
Aha, good one.
Get some sticks in here.
I'm sailing. Oh, yeah.
So this the church that they originally had to film in this, they had the permit to film in there, but then it got withdrawn last minute because they found out in the script that they were going to be filming a sex scene between two underage teenagers. So they didn't let them shoot in the church or the confessional room like they had planned. So they had to build one last minute, and they built this one that they're in, and it's like the size of like an airport bathroom, I guess they said.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Something really sinful. This priest just wants to get off on his own. That's terrible.
I want to take a bath.
Did you ever watch the Gene Simmons show? What was it on TLC? What was it? AMC or TLC? The reality show?
I might have stopped on it for a time or something, but what was it called?
I'm looking it up real quick. Family Jewels.
Family Jewels, yeah.
Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. Yes, I watched way more than I would like to admit of the show. I watched probably solid like 3 or 4 seasons of it. That Basset Hound, by the way, is the Maytag dog back in the day.
It looks exactly like the Maytag dog.
But yeah, I watched way too much of that show. It's essentially Gene Simmons. I mean, he'd go perform with Kiss every once in a while, but it was just mainly him at home, taking care of family business with his 2 kids and his girlfriend, wife, and just watching somebody with way too much money. These 2 actors, one of them was Bobby from Sopranos, and then the other one, he was in The Departed. He was Leo's cousin.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Oh, man. Uh-oh. Oh, and they let the little squirt sound. Oh, premature Peter. Oh, I'm sure there's more where that came from, she asks. She's demanding it.
Yeah. Well, at that age, it's unlimited supply.
I mean, yeah, as I say, 17, 18, you just need, 3 seconds and
then
you're good to go
just
again.
Pumping away.
Now I need 3 days. I'm like,
yeah.
Give me some time.
Get off me, woman.
Yeah, we got Bobby from The Sopranos, and I forget the smaller guy. He's been in a lot of sitcoms. He's like a big character in a bunch of.
Well,
he's always playing the.
He's in Pineapple Express. I just watched that a week or 2 ago.
That's right.
He cracks me up.
I seen it. Yeah, he always plays these kind of shady characters, I guess. Even back in he was in Freaks and Geeks back in the day too. He
he was.
He bought pot off somebody or sold pot.
I think didn't he sell pot?
He sold pot to what's his name? Yeah, because there was the episode where she's like, "You smoke too much pot." They wanted this rescue scene. It had a whole different scenario, I guess, set up for this. On how they wanted these dogs to kind of play out, but I guess the dogs just weren't cooperating. They are animals, so they had to cut the scene completely down or combine the scenes. They were gonna have a fight scene with the dogs, and then she was gonna save her a separate scene. But since they were running short on time, like they had in other scenes, they just combined them. Had the dogs trap them in here, and use his little pin to get her out. Little joint holder.
That's a smooth move right there.
And this is the last we see of Natasha. There's an extra scene where he takes her to a cab and he sends her off type of a thing. But this is pretty much it. This is all you get to see of her at the end. They're all slowly getting their girls. Hawk just got his older lady. Jam's getting his lady. Lexus got his. Trip, he's just going to get an ass beating. But actually, he did get the girl. He got the gas station attendant. I forgot about that.
True that. Yeah, hopefully he at least got over the pants hand job or something pretty quick.
Yeah, or just some dry humping.
Getting after it.
The dad, come on now. He knows what's up. He's just like, let's just go. Every time I hear this song, Love Hurts, I just think of The Wedding Singer. Sir, one more outburst from you and I'll choke you with my microphone wire.
It reminds me of Days of Confused too, when they go get Hirschfelder out of that back room.
Oh, that's right.
I was getting there.
You hear that? He was getting there. Son, you wouldn't know what to do if you did get there. See, that's the thing with these movies. Like, it's kind of that cycle. Like, we grew up, watching these movies in the 90s, and the people who were directing or writing these movies, they grew up in the 70s. So they were using what they grew up, their some music from their childhood, I guess, to influence us, which, we look back fondly on these movies because of this music that we hear. And so it's like, I wonder what music they're going to use, like now, like, fucking like Fall Out Boy or something. That. Is, like,
right?
Is that going to define a generation or something like that? Like,
that
I don't want that to happen. But like if you think about it, like a lot of movies we watched in the 90s had all these great classic 70s, and as they should. But we just kind of grew up with that, like, just instilled in our brains, like, that's the good classic stuff. And so now it's like when you hear, in the early 2000s, it'd just be some stupid, like, alternative rock music band, like some mediocre one. It would never be like some standout band or a good band you wanted to hear. Or Fall Out Boy.
Chongo.
That dude was huge. And there's always that one dude in high school who looks like Chongo.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is easily 29 years old.
Right? Dude, you look 30. And then these random psycho kids.
Oh, yeah. I guess during when one of the kids says "kiss sucks," when he first meets him, it took like a ton of tries to get the kid to say it correctly because he kept saying "kiss sucks." He's like, "No, just say kiss sucks," and he just kept saying it that other way. He's like, "Oh, I guess you don't want to say it the cool way." Then he's like, "Oh, no, I do. I want to say it the cool way." It's like he doesn't want to say it the cool way to the other kid, and he's like, okay, I'll say it. So I guess this is how I had to work with the kids. You got to trick them. See the rage in her eyes.
Yeah, she plays a good psycho.
Mm-hmm. That shaky head, those demon eyes. Oh, being called.
The old rant. But yeah, that would be pretty wild to have a parent like that. That's psycho.
Well, it's like they always say, like if you as a parent, you should just, it's a fine balance. If you try to tell a kid to not do something, then they're going to jump right into it.
Yep.
So if you don't want them to do something, you got to be delicate about it. But hell, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just be like, stop doing that shit. So I guess one thing I never really kind of noticed was the characters, the kids are mirroring the band members. So like, of course, like their personalities in real life, I guess. Which I never knew. I guess that was their goal. We have, Hawk is more like Ace, or Paul, I guess, and then Trip is more like Ace. Lex is more like Chris, and then Lex is more like or Jam is more like Chris, and Lex is more like Gene Simmons.
Okay, I see it.
I love how the scalper just dead sprint. It takes off. Great tune as well.
Exactly. Another good one.
Not Van Hagar.
Not Van Hagar. The devil's music.
So like they wanted, the director wanted them to have like the other song they wanted was Baba O'Reilly, Teenage Wasteland by The Who.
Yep.
But I guess it was just way too expensive. They couldn't get the approval. So this was the other one they went for. He said, I guess the way they had Teenage Wasteland lined up was like, it sounded perfect, but it just wasn't working out.
Yep, them damn rights.
I know. I remember a story that The Who in Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, Jack Black wanted to use for the image of Pete Townsend doing the sliding guitar thing. They are like, oh, can we use that image and imitate it? Like, oh yes, yeah, no problem, mate. $250,000.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it was kind of a steep price for our budget, and so we had to nix it. We had to find a way around it.
Damn.
So apparently the Who are very greedy when it comes to using their source, as they should, but maybe it's to a certain extent. I mean, this is the plan that like you think about, but you never really execute. Like, what if we beat the shit out of each other? Like that'll convince them.
Fight Club
really
style.
Actually do it. Yeah,
Yep.
But you never actually do it. And so they had another ending here as well. Of course they get in, by seeing the Chongo and his little brother. But the other ending was a mom was rushing out of the concert with her two kids who she is dragging out of him because she didn't want them to see Kiss. She throws their envelope on the ground, and it's got 4 tickets in there. And so the boys pick up the tickets, and they're like, "Oh wait, we got our tickets. We're going in." And as they're about to walk in, fucking Elvis, the security guy from the school, shows up out of nowhere and yanks out of their hands and eats the tickets.
That's wild.
That was their other ending. Yeah.
Damn, that sounds
yeah.
Kind of cool.
They're like, yeah, and I guess they tried it and it just didn't quite work out. So they need a little bit more straightforward, happier type of ending. And plus they had to get to the Kiss cameo at the end.
Oh yeah, it worked out. They got the tickets.
It is always nice. We get the tickets, the digital tickets now, but it is still great to hold the physical
there's
ticket.
there's nothing like it.
I mean, I don't know if you did this or if we both did it, but did you save the stubs on all your tickets back in high school and college for a while?
I did it for a while. I don't have any of them though.
No, I did it back like in my. I think you saw in my high school room.
Yeah.
I had the tickets lined up on my top there, and I did that for a while, and it was cool. You know, having the physical form, just kind of looking back, like I went to that concert. I mean, I think now putting those into something would be cool, but like I don't save the ones I get now. But having those from like 20 years ago, might be pretty cool.
It definitely was. I think more of a thing to do when it was nothing but paper tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now that we get so many tickets electronically,
the only thing I have now is like blurry Instagram pictures now to prove that I went to this concert. So yeah, it's a different experience. So this concert here, this is not a updated version. They recreated a 70s version of their concerts. They have way more pyrotechnics and crazier shit going on, but this is their 70s version. One of my favorite parts is coming up here. They have the POV of Gene Simmons' tongue from inside looking out. It's a big, a big animatronic that was used in like all the trailers and everything. So the company that put that together, they did it for free. They basically called up the production, was like, "Hey, do you guys need any sort of special effect or like animatronic for the movie?" And like, "No, not really." Well, the director was like, "Actually, we could use a POV like Gene Simmons' tongue. We've never seen that before." And they're like, "We'll do it for free. You know, we're huge Kiss fans." And so they rocked it out, and that's what we end up getting. And it was like one of the most used, scenes from the movie in the trailer. So it was a big marketing tool that they got for free.
Not a bad deal.
There it is. Yeah. For free. Got that nice big old waving tongue. And people have always said there's those rumors that Gene Simmons, got surgery to add onto his tongue. But the myth has been debunked. It's just a real tongue.
It's just, long. Deal with it, people.
Deal with it.
Oh, he's going for it.
I've had that feeling, man. You saw me at the Nuggets
the Nuggets game. You snagged that shirt.
Snagged the shirt. Oh yeah,
that was solid. Yeah,
that's what the 3 inches of extra arm will do to you.
Yeah.
So here we are, finally reaching the end of Detroit Rock City.
Well, you know what? Now that I do watch it all the way back through, like, it's a pretty overall solid movie. It's good, but I think they could have actually got into the concert a little quicker, or I guess had them in the concert a little longer.
Maybe like a shenanigan or two in the concert before they get to their seats, kind of a thing.
Yeah, because I feel like the entire movie they're building up to this concert. You get the one song, and then
you get like 10 seconds of the one song.
Yeah,
I think that was a lot of people's complaints.
Does rock.
Yeah, I think on the commentary they mentioned the complaints were like it was one way or the other. There was not enough Kiss at all, or there's way too much Kiss because they kept referencing it throughout the movie and the memorabilia and stuff like that. But I agree. I think there should have been a little bit more at the concert itself because that was the whole thing.
They could have
concert.
Exactly. That was kind of what I was thinking. It was their whole thing was to get to this concert, and so they finally did get in, and then they're there for like 3 minutes of the movie, especially with it only being, right at an hour and a half long, if that. I think they could have done another song or two in the Kiss concert, but I mean, besides that.
Yeah, no, I agree. But no, like you said, the movie still holds up. 20 years this week, it came out in theaters. So if you haven't seen it in a while, check it out. If you haven't seen it at all, I hope you have enjoyed us talking about it enough to go watch it. It's a pretty solid movie. I doubt we'll ever see any sort of reboot or sequel of it. It's just one of those, 90s movies that's just a one-off. It came and it went. That's pretty much how I would explain Detroit Rock City.
it now. Exactly. That's exactly right.
So we'll all right then, man. Well, thanks for rocking out this episode. About to say concert. This episode of the podcast. Everyone else, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Infirmary Media Podcast Network. And also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Be Kind Rewind Pod for all of your nostalgic needs. So thanks, and be excellent to each other.
Infirmary Media.